Welcome back to the S&T Football Podcast. This weekend we have the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We have the New England Patriots after picking up their first round win against not the San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers, and we have the Houston Texans who beat the Steelers in the first round. Yes, on Monday night, beat them down pretty good. Pittsburgh had a tough time in that one. So these two teams meet now in the next round. The Patriots have obviously come back into the conversation, in the playoff conversation after being out for a few seasons following Tom Brady's retirement. They've had a tough time getting back into the fold. With Mac Jones, we made the playoffs one year, but then immediately got obliterated by the Bills in the first round, and then ever since then, it's kind of been down and out since. So. Good to see the Patriots playing some good football and winning their first playoff game in about almost a decade. And then on the other side, we have a familiar face in the Houston Texans. We're used to seeing them in the playoffs. They've kind of been running the AFC South for the last several years, but they did not win the division this year. They went to the Jaguars, but the Texans won their first round game, so they're the last AFC South team left. CJ Stroud has, a lot of people were kind of down on CJ after last season. He kind of had a down year. And he kind of, he hasn't been balling out, but he's definitely stepped his game up, going back into his earlier years, his first couple of years where he was playing really well. So, the Texans are doing pretty good. On their defense is still really good. Will Anderson out of Alabama, he's a stud. He's keep that defense. Pass rush is heavy, and the defense keeps them in games. They've been winning a lot of close games this season, a lot of one-score games. So good to see these two teams here, and it should be a really good one. But Tom, go ahead and take.
Yeah, I guess there's just one thing I disagree with you on that you said right there. Well, actually, I don't fully disagree. Like you said, it's not like CJ Stroud's been balling out, but I will say he has been getting carried this season by his defense, which again, you still have to be good enough to be an NFL quarterback. So I don't want to like talk too much bad on CJ Stroud. Um, he's done fine. But he had kind of a rough first half against the Steelers. But boy, that Houston Texans defense. Good Lord, can I talk? The Houston Texans defense reminds me a lot, like how you mentioned, how Indiana and Denver are kind of similar. Well, I think Miami and Houston this year are extremely similar, where Houston can genuinely make it to as far as they want in the playoffs as long as their defense keeps playing well, because CJ Stroud is a good enough quarterback where he can find ways to win games. Um, they don't have a bunch of all-stars on offense, but that defense is just playing lights out in the playoffs. I mean, I know we've only seen one game so far from the Texans defense in the playoffs, but I mean, to hold the Steelers to zero touchdowns and only 6 points, that's not a small feat. Now, I know the Steelers haven't had the best offense. It's been up and down for the Steelers all year. Mike Tomlin just stepped away, but I think the main reason that they won the game the way they did, well, it was 30-6, was because they only held the Steelers to 6 points. And if you're the Steelers, if they're on the field the entire game, they get tired. And eventually, like I said, you just lean on teams. You don't have to be the greatest offense in the world to score points in the NFL. You just have to be methodical and you have to be smart. And the Houston Texans did that. Even even though they had, well, I think it, oh my God, even though I think it was three turnovers in the first half, they still scored 30 points. If you're scoring 30 points and you're the Houston Texans offense, well, I guess they also had a scoop and score on defense. So really, they only scored, well, you can say 23, whatever. But it, even if you only score 23 and you're the Houston Texans offense, you're going to win games because your defense is going to probably most likely hold teams under 20 points, which they've done that consistently all year. They've been a great defensive team all year. That, like you said, Will Anderson, complete stud. Um, so in this one, I don't actually know who might win, but I think, like we've said before, defense wins championships. That's why Miami is in the college football national championship. And so I think the Texans have a really good chance to win this game. Um, and defense wins championships. That's my final statement. Saison. Well, actually, I mean, the Patriots, though, the only reason I think that the Texans beat the Patriots is because of what we saw from the Patriots offense in the first round. The Chargers defense is nowhere near the Texans defense, in my opinion. It is the NFL though, so it's good on good. But, with Drake May, it's like if they put Drake May under pressure, he is mobile, way more mobile than Aaron Rodgers. But I think if the Texans can just frazzle him, he's still young enough. Um, it's not it's not going to be good weather, which I guess that favors the Patriots. But I think defense, they don't care if it's cold or not. It doesn't matter because they'll probably even play harder just to stay warm. So give me the Texans over the Patriots. I think it's going to be a big upset. No disrespect to the Patriots. They've had a great season, but I think this is going to be a big upset this week. And I think the Texans come away with the win. Saison, I know you disagree, so talk to me about it.
Well said, Tom. Well said. I don't necessarily disagree. I actually think that this will be a tough one for the Patriots to win. Like I said before the call, the Texans have been a really gritty team all season long. I've been paying attention to them in the AFC South. Like they've just been barely winning games week after week, one score games, kind of like how Denver was doing as well. Just been battling. And and I also like what you said about comparing them to Miami because yes, they turned it on last week in the playoffs, first round against the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, by the way. So Houston, Houston's a warm, sunny place, and they also play in a dome. So going to Pittsburgh, already a historic, traditional powerhouse, of the Steelers, and then you're going on the road in a cold environment, and the way that they played was just it was really impressive. That's what I'll say about that game. That was really impressive. That defense was just lights out. Just harassing Aaron Rodgers all night long. The Pittsburgh offense. I mean, they were able to move the ball, but they just could not put up points. They couldn't finish. They could never finish because either the offensive drive would stall out, or they would turn the ball over. So Houston was just bringing it, and that defense looks real nasty. And if they can play that way, this week as well, and then going forward, yes, they might have a shot to do the kind of things that Miami's doing down there in college football. So I like how you said that. And then on the New England side, obviously the Patriots have just been really good all season long. They've just been beating up on teams. Yes, they have had one of the weaker schedules in the NFL, and a lot of people point to that with racking up as many wins as they did. I'm not saying that the schedule wasn't weak. They definitely played a lot of bad teams this season. The Titans, the Browns, the Saints, teams like that. So the Patriots have not been tested as much as other teams that are left here in the playoffs. So I will say that that is a factor, and I kind of saw that in the first round against the Chargers because even though the Patriots ended up winning that game was not pretty at all for either side. Both offenses were struggling to put up points. The defenses were really good on both sides, so respect to them, but just struggling all night for both offenses to get into the end zone. The Patriots really just kicked a couple more field goals, and that ended up being the difference. But neither offense was really performing. So if they play like that again against the Texans, it is going to be a rougher time because the way that Texans defense was playing, they can put up points themselves on defense. They can go ahead and put up points if they want to. They can take a interception back for a touchdown or a fumble. So you're going to have to keep up. And not saying that the Texans' offense is overwhelming because they're not. I mean, the Patriots' defense can definitely shut down the Texans' offense if they want to. They can definitely hold them at bay. But like you said, over time, if the defense continues to have to be on the field, they get tired out, and that's when they kind of bend and break. So Drake May is definitely going to step up his game from last week. Well, everybody's going to have to, but starts with the quarterback. On the offensive side for the Texans, I really do like these couple rookies that they have out of Iowa State. Uh, Jalen, there's two of them. There's Jaden Higgins and then there's Jalen Knoll. Both of them are pretty good, and especially Jaden Higgins. He's kind of been a breakout player for them late in the year, and I really like the way he was playing against the Steelers. He's fast. He's in the slot and he gets open a lot. So C.J. Stroud looks to him, when he doesn't have his big play weapons like Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz out of tight end. So um, that Texans offense can definitely get some things going. They can definitely hit some big plays. So this Patriots defense is going to have to be on point. And then on the other side, like we talked about, the Texans defense is coming. So this O line for the Patriots is going to have to hold up way better than they did against Los Angeles because they did not play well against Los Angeles. Drake May was under pressure for much of that game. So the O line for the Patriots definitely have to play better. We got Will Campbell back late in the year, but he was injured for like half the season, so he's just getting back and just getting his feet wet. So, not saying that contributed to the way they played, but they're gonna have to step it up. And um, you know, I kind of like your pick because I do see this being a really tough battle, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans pull this one out because they just look really good in the last round, especially going to a already a hard place to play in Pittsburgh. The Patriots playing in Boston, is going to be similar to that. So um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to pick against my Patriots,
Yeah,
but
yeah, well, I know you don't want to pick against your Patriots. I guess okay, so my philosophy is if it's a low scoring game, give me the better defense because the better defense, like you said, we saw the Patriots struggle against the Chargers defense, who was genuinely bad all year. Which again, you probably show up to play a little bit more when you're in the playoffs if you're the Chargers defense, which, and you have Jim Harbaugh as your coach. He's a good defensive mind. Um, yeah, if you can't score points, I mean, it's give me the better defense because I think Houston might figure out like it's going to be a field goal battle in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. Well, I guess it kind of is, but give me the Texans just because I think it's going to be a low scoring game. And if it's a low scoring game, I would bet on the Texans defense to hold the Patriots more than the Patriots defense will hold the Texans. And also the Patriots defense has been really good all year. So, but the Texans defense, they make plays. Like you said, they'll get a pick six, they'll get a fumble recovery for a touchdown, that they'll score points on defense just as much as on offense. And also, field goals do come from good defensive stops. It's a game of field position. So if you're the Patriots, it's like, well, you better make it at least to the 50, 40-yard line just so you can at least pin the Texans offense deep. But I don't know if they will because the Texans defense has been playing that good. And I also liked how you mentioned they've already been to Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh in the cold. So we know it's like they can, it's not like this is like a fair weather team. The Chargers we kind of saw as they didn't, their O line was really bad. So there's that. But they're not a fair weather team like you would maybe consider the Chargers to be. So, but that's my 2 cents. You if you have anything to add on that, go for it.
I like your points, Tom. I like your points, and you definitely make some good arguments. And I'm just trying to be unbiased, and just the way that we played last week against the Chargers, combined with Drake May's still young. He's still only his second year, and as great as he played this season, probably going to win an MVP and all. I just think that maybe the inexperience may show up here in these really important games in the playoffs. So, last week, he didn't play bad, but he was just under pressure a lot, and I think that he made uh, a lot of throws. I think he missed a lot of throws that he could have made. So, in the way the Texans played in that first round, they look really scary, and If I'm going to be unbiased, I think I am going to take the Texans, but it could definitely go either way. And
Whoa, whoa,
if the offense for
whoa. Are you a real Patriots fan taking the Texans?
I'm being unbiased, Tom. I'm being unbiased. I gotta look at it, I gotta look at it fairly and without bias. And, I'm gonna go with the an analysis that I think that makes sense. And I think I'm gonna take the Texans. But it definitely could go either way. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots won because if the offense wakes up for the Patriots, they're really dangerous. I mean, this team could score in a blink of an eye. I mean, I've seen it all year long. Trevion Henderson, the rookie out of Ohio State, Ramondre Stevenson, Stephon Diggs. Everybody gets going once Drake May plays really well. So if they can get the points going, it could definitely go the Patriots' way for sure. But just based on really the first round that I saw, um, I think the Texans could be trying to pull it upset.
That's where you're a bigger man than me. I would never pick against my team, but you're a bigger man than me. Hats off to you. Um, yeah, yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, all right, yeah, that's all I gotta say.